Song.
Here.
Seat H, Mike Calais here. Seat I, Chris Calais.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we have approved minutes for May 11, 2022 meeting. Need a motion? Moved by Larry Griffin, second by John Nelson. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is the Northern Expansion projects. Northern Expansion Slip C and Flotation Canal 1,500-foot bulkhead. PCO and Associates. Where's Joe?
I saw him on the phone. Oh,
There he is.
Hey, Joe, welcome to the meeting.
Just sit down.
Okay, Slip C Bulkhead, APC is the contractor. He's out there right now driving steel sheet pile and driving concrete piles for the dead men. They attempted to pour a dead man this morning, concrete-wise, and had some problems with the plant, and they're going to move that down the line. So
Okay.
we're still working through issues getting concrete. Right now, we're getting it out of Homa, but hopefully shortly we'll start getting concrete out of Fouchon.
You could sit with us if you want.
Sir?
You could sit with us if you want.
Thank you.
All right, Northern Expansion Slip D and Bayou Lafourche Dredge, GIS Engineering.
Good morning. Crosby Dredging is the contractor on this project. They are getting really close to the end. I was out there last week in an airboat, and it did not move with the tide on the fill area. They took surveys on Monday, but we have not seen those results yet, but we think it's a matter of days before they're finished filling that area.
Okay, good. Any questions? Thank you, John. Okay, moving on to airport projects. Aircraft operations, Davey.
Operations for last month are 1,032. Passengers last month, 6,213. And our vehicle count at the airport is 18,811.
Any questions on that? Okay. Airport Connector Road and Bridge, PCO and Associates.
Sea Level Construction is the contractor. He's currently driving piles in Bayou Lafourche on the 308 side, and he's working on drainage and crossovers and turning lanes on LA 3235. They are laying asphalt today on 3235 on the turnouts. They are working on also beginning to start on the drainage on LA1. So had some utility conflicts, but they're working through that now.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seal coat and pavement markings project, GIS Engineering.
Okay, G Asphalt Systems is the contractor on this project. Good job, Serena. Got a new picture there. That looks like the one I took this morning. They're removing the pavement markings on the runway today. It should take them through Saturday, they believe, so early next week they should actually be seal coating. The runway is closed at the present time, but they've made accommodations for the major tenants to use other facilities while that is happening.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. The approach obstruction removal, Davey.
The approach obstruction removal, we did have an arborist come in and look at the trees. We were having a question on the number of trees marked by landowner. We now know what the trees are, so we're going to have to schedule a meeting with the landowner, see how we proceed if he wants those trees that are outside of the original quote.
Based on the preliminary report, many of the trees that were marked are sweet gum, which is not a marketable tree by any means. So that's what the discussion has to be about with the landowner. Okay. All right. The South Lafourche Industrial Mobile Home Park, PCO and Associates.
Onshore Construction is the contractor. He's basically getting near complete. He's still doing some testing on the sewer line. The sewer plant's in, the lighting's in, the fire hydrants are in. And we also have RLC moving their trailers in anticipation on getting them hooked up for service towards the end of the month.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to other projects, the Fouchon Pavilion.
Yeah, Onshore Construction's a contractor. They've finished forming up the slab and laying all the rebar, driving all the piles. The building is on site. We're again waiting on concrete. It's not really a good idea to pour concrete coming out of Houma because they had such a large pour. It's over 700 yards of concrete. If anything would happen in the transport of concrete, we would have a mess on our hands in the middle of the pour. So they're trying to wait till Terrebonne gets the plant up and running in Fouchon, and then have a plan to pour it there, and maybe have a backup coming out of Houma if we need to.
And we still don't really have a timeline on Terrebonne's plant getting up in Fouchon?
Terrebonne did some batching out at Fouchon last week, and they had some success, but they also had some problems.
Okay.
And they're trying to work through those problems now. And we were tentatively scheduled to pour today or tonight, but they pushed that back. So hopefully later in the week, early next week, we'll have another scheduled date.
Okay, good deal. Any questions? Thank you, Joe. Okay, pre-storm emergency debris removal project, we have received proposals. They are under review. We should be ready to approve the winning proposal at our next our committee meeting in 2 weeks. That's the goal. Time is of the essence for this, so because it'll be effective this hurricane season. Okay, so we're moving that along. And then Hurricane Ida, we have working through process. We're kind of seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, working through the process with CSRS. Based on our priority projects, our facilities, the Galliano Main Administration Building, this one here, we're going to open bids on Tuesday, June 21st. Issue bids, start advertising for bids on Tuesday, June 21st. On the Operations Center in Fouchon, the EOC in Fouchon, and our operation maintenance shop in Fouchon, we're going to open, issue bids or advertise for bids Wednesday, June 29th. For the public boat launch bathhouse, we're going to start advertising tomorrow, June 9th, Thursday, June 9th. For our front marina boat lift roof, Storm Harbor Marina wharf repairs, Nerby College Marina wharf repairs, and front commercial marina wharves, we're going to start advertising on June 30th. And then for the airport terminal building and the airport hangar building, we're going to start advertising July 29th on or abouts there. In terms of the other projects that we have for Hurricane Ida, the Galliano office that we're currently in behind this building here, that should start repairs in the next week or so. The cinder block warehouse in the back here as well in this complex footprint, that has started. The cinder blocks have been put in place, and they're pressure washing right now to start to do the painting of the building and doing some work on the inside as well. At the airport, electrical vault, the localizer, the glide slope, and the old electrical vault, sometime middle of this month. Materials have been ordered, so they should start those repairs middle of this month. The T-hangers at the airport, projected start date in the next week or so. Materials have been ordered. And the airport maintenance building, projected start date is the next week or so, waiting on materials as well. So that's my update on our projects there. I don't know if y'all saw on our social media, yesterday the outgoing captain of the port with the U.S. Coast Guard, Captain Wade Russell, came in yesterday to have a meeting, and basically he's outgoing, so he just wanted to discuss the change of command ceremony is actually next week in Houma, and he presented us with this kind of commendation award here. I'll go ahead and read just a snippet of it. It says, suffering a direct hit themselves, the efforts of Chet Chasson and the Greater Lafourche Port Commission as true emergency management partners resulted in an incredibly swift recovery of the national significant marine transportation system, and the reconstitution of the cornerstone of the nation's offshore oil and gas industry. The Coast Guard is prepared to meet the challenges presented by natural disasters because of those strong local partnerships. On behalf of a grateful Coast Guard, I thank our partners like the Greater Lafourche Port Commission and the team for their valuable, selfless service. So certainly want to thank him and all the work that he's, the collaboration we've had with the Coast Guard, and he as the captain of the port the last 3 years. And it's good to be recognized for I think the hard work that we all put in preparing and responding to storms. So just wanted to tell y'all what he said, and he sends his thanks and sorry he couldn't be at the meeting today. That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chasson. Next, we have any public comment. All right, moving on to committees. Executive Committee. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Rodney Gisclair Sr., Larry Griffin, and Jimmy Lafourche. First, we have consider approving the agreement for marketing opportunities.
Okay, we've been discussing this since budget time at the end of last year. We have, in your packet, you have 3 cooperative endeavor agreements that we would enter into with the town of Golden Meadow, the Bayou Civic Club, which is Laurel Civic Center, and the Cutoff Youth Center. And basically, we would agree with those 3 entities that we would provide signs and billboards to be placed at the different, maybe at, like in Golden Meadow, the baseball fields, the potentially swimming pool, and the recreational pavilion. At the Cutoff Youth Center and the Laurel Civic Center, it would be at the swimming pool, inside the gym facility, and then outside their pavilion facilities. And then we would coordinate with them for the placement of those signs, and we would pay $5,000 to each of those entities. So you have 3 different agreements in here, and the recommendation is to approve those agreements.
All right, need a motion. Moved
Second.
by Mike Colley, second by John Mellison. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Getting out of executive committee, going into permits and waterways. Members are Rodney Gisclair, Chairman, Curtis Pierce, Johnny Ardone, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Gisclair.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll review our permits this week. We only have one. It's from White Marlin Operating Company, LLC. It's in Lafourche Parish. White Marlin Operating Company performed emergency repairs under EUA 20-057. The project included oil spill response and cleanup, which resulted from a broken needle valve on LLNE 326 number 1 well. No dredge or fill activities occurred. As response and cleanup work was completed in 2020, approximately 0.40 acres of marsh and open water habitat may have been impacted as a result of the activities. And Mr. President, that concludes the permits and waterways review of permits.
Thank you, Mr. Gisclair. Next, we're going into Construction and Development Committees. Members are Chris Colley, Chairman, Mike Colley, Curtis Pierce, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Colley, your turn.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. First, we have consider approving change order number 2 from Crosby Dredging LLC for the Slip D and Bayou Lafourche dredge project.
Okay, this change order adds 66 calendar days to the contract time. Recommendation to approve.
All right, I need a motion.
I'll move.
Moved by Mike Colley, second by Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we have consider approving the FAA grant agreement for the approach obstruction removal project.
Okay, so as y'all aware, we've been working on the approach obstruction removal project. This agreement is basically saying that the Greater Lafourche Port Commission is accepting the grant funding of $293,658 from the Federal Aviation Administration. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce, second by Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we have consider approving the substantial completion certificate from TBT Contracting for the maintenance shop repairs.
Okay, all the major repairs have been done. There's a punch list of items that needs to be completed. The recommendation is to approve this substantial completion.
All right. Need a motion. Moved by Mr. Rodney Gisclair, second by Jim Lafourche. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the Construction and Development Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we're going into Finance Committee. Members are John Melisson, Jr., Chairman, Larry Griffin, Chris Colley, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Melisson, your turn.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by consider approving payments of the May 2022 invoices and recognizing those expenditures over $25,000. And we'll begin with APC Construction, $1,079,708.36. And that is for the Northern Expansion Phase 3 Slip C Bulkhead Part 2 project. Next, we have Sea Level Construction Incorporated, $992,901.35, and that's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge project. Item 3, Onshore Construction Company, LLC, $515,764.82, and that is for the Flotation Canal Pavilion project. Item 4, Crosby Dredging, LLC, $316,814.61, and that's for dredging of Slip D and Bayou Lafourche. Item 5, GIS Engineering, $118,611.04, and that's for Hurricane Ida damages restoration, Fouchon Island Bridge and Connector Road, the GAO Airport Seal Coat, General Engineering Surveying and Consultant, and the Slip D Bulkhead Project. Item 6, Angelette Piciola LLC, $109,005.62. That is for the beach resurvey and hydrographic data, Bell Pass Tower Platform, Flotation Canal Mooring Dolphins, and the Fouchon Bridge. Item 7, Lead Tractor Company, $97,642.95. And that's for a 2022 Case 580N backhoe. Item 8, Piciola and Associates, $92,164.94. That is for channel dredging, repairs to the PHI office and warehouse, the Flotation Canal Pavilion, the Airport Connector Road and Bridge, Slip C 1,500 linear feet bulkhead Part 2, the Industrial Trailer Park, the mechanic shop repairs, past Fouchon dredging, and general engineering. Item 9, Southland Dodge, $50,945.34. That's for a 2022 Ram 2500 crew truck, along with repairs to port vehicles. Item 10, Gee Asphalt Systems Incorporated, $49,637.50, and that's for the seal coat and pavement marking projects at the airport. Item 11, M&L Industries LLC, $27,561.85, and as for an engine for a 215 Case 580N backhoe. These expenditures, along with the others for this month, is $4,427,325.02. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these expenditures.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. John Melisson, second by Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we have on our agenda, as discussed on Monday night, committee meeting, consider approving the 2021 audited financial statements. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these.
I got a motion by John Melisson, second by Johnny Ardorn. Any discussion? Any public comment? When does Mark come talk?
I'm sorry, I jumped on you, Mark.
That's okay.
You got discussion.
Discussion.
You got discussion, Mark.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to retract that, and Mr. Felger with Laporte CPAs will give us our annual report on how we did. And Mr. Felger, I'd like to apologize. We usually have something in place of this item on the agenda. Please go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Chet and Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here again. I didn't know if I would ever be back, but as you know, I've been doing this for you guys for 20-something years now, and it's always a pleasure to be down here. Okay, we've completed our audit. Let's see, it's a new one. Which way am I going here? Right, okay. Okay, we completed our audit of the Port Commission's 2021 financial statements, and we have issued our report. The independent auditor's report is on pages 1 through 3, and we've issued what's called an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, which states that the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in the United States of America. We've also issued a report under government auditing standards, sometimes referred to as the Yellow Book report, on compliance with laws, regulations, contracts, and grants, and also on internal controls over financial reporting. That report shows no findings regarding compliance and no significant deficiencies in internal control. We did not issue a single audit report, although we expected to at the beginning of the year. After looking at your federal funds, you did not receive $750,000 in federal funds. While the FEMA grants that you're going to get for some of the repairs of the damage to the storm, while the damage occurred during 2021, FEMA has not yet obligated the funds, so those funds do not get considered for single audit until FEMA obligates the funds. And also the other major project would be the bridge, and so far the the feds are paying for the bridge itself and not for all the connector roads. So since that project has been mostly on the connector roads and not on the bridge itself yet, the single audit doesn't apply yet, although we do expect for 2022 there will be a single audit. Okay. Just looking at the financial results, cash and investments totaled $127.1 million, which is a 2.6% increase over the previous year. Your total capital assets are $220 million, which is an increase of 4.9% over the previous years. Unearned lease revenue, this is prepaid improvement rents or people have prepaid their rents, and this is being amortized over the life of the lease for those tenants. That decreased by 18%, and we would expect that to continue to decrease unless you get more tenants who are prepaying rent in the future. Your net pension and post-employment healthcare liabilities are $20.8 million, which is a 12.3% decrease. It's primarily from the pension because the pension plans had investment results far in excess of their expectations last year. This year, probably not so much. And your net position, which is basically net worth or retained earnings if you were in a for-profit company, are $331.4 million, which is an increase of 3.5% from the previous year. Annual operating revenues were $24.2 million, which is an increase of about $2.7 million or 12.7% over the previous year, although there were some rent deferrals related to Hurricane Ida. We computed the rent deferrals in 2020 versus 2021, and you actually had fewer rent deferrals in 2021 than you did in 2020. Total operating or net operating income was $500,000. Basically, the cost of operating the port compared to the self-generated port revenues, you ended up with $500,000 of excess revenue compared to a $2.3 million loss last year, which was primarily related to the rent deferrals in 2020. Expenses for 19, 20, and 21 were all about equal. There was very little variation in the 3 years. Net income before capital grants and special and extraordinary items was $0.8 million or $800,000, which was a 51% decrease from the previous year. A big chunk of that was the ad valorem tax revenues because of Hurricane Ida were much less this year than they were in the previous years. And your capital grants totaled $14.3 million, which was an 88.9% increase. Most of that came from a $10.1 million port relief funds through the state of Louisiana, and the remaining would have been actual construction projects. Okay. The revenues by source. Of course, self-generated fees represent 57% of the total, rent and other fees charged to tenants at the port. State and federal capital construction grants, which included the 10 million port relief fund, were 34%. State and federal operating and maintenance grants were 4%, ad valorem taxes 5%. Other 0%, that would be interest income and other miscellaneous incomes. It was very, very small, but definitely less than 1% of the total revenues. Expenses by category, salaries and benefits represent 30%. Depreciation and loss on any sale or disposal of assets was 35%. Lease expense for land that you lease from landowners is 18%. Maintenance and operation of facilities, 10%. Other operating expenses was 6%, and then 1% on fuel and oil and retail items that you, mostly that's, I guess, airplane fuel, and other items that you sell. Capital construction grants versus construction expenditures. And you can see in the last 3 years, it follows more of the 3-year pattern that we've always all gotten used to with the 3-year port priority funding mechanism, where it increases every 3rd year is when they the state gives you more money, but this year that $10 million in port relief funds is included there. And we had $16.3 million in additions to construction in progress. Okay. All right. This is the fun stuff. Coming up. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not yet. For 2021, we actually adopted a new accounting standard, which really didn't affect the Port Commission at all. Is accounting for interest cost incurred before the end of the construction period. Prior to this, any interest on borrowed funds used for construction would have been capitalized as part of the asset. GASB decided to do away with that, but since the Port Commission has no debt, it doesn't really apply to you. But if you ever did borrow money, this would be a new standard that you would have to follow. Okay, here's the fun stuff. Not really fun for Miranda, though. GASB has also issued some new standards which are going to be effective next year and the year after that. Primarily leases, and since the Port's primary activity is leasing land and then turning around and making improvements and leasing those to tenants, this will have a huge impact on your financial statements. Not only will